First and foremost, before I get started, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Wahabrakakadash, which Yahweh, that's the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, that's whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ as his true name, and the Rakakadash, that is the Holy Spirit. And I would like to also give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to all you brothers out there. And I just want to do a quick lesson, a little in transit while I get to class. And as you see in the title, you know, it says, remember that you're a prophet first and foremost. And it was just something that I was meditating on, because I've been pretty busy with a lot of different things as of late. And I feel like I've, been having a hindrance, okay, in my production because of these things. You know, you got situations, you know, such as work, kids, you know, different errands, whatever the case may be, you know, the things of this, you know, this world, you know, at times it can, you know, distract you. And like I said, it could be a hindrance. All right. And I'll say this, you know, when I first came into this truth, I was 22 years old. Okay. I was a young man, didn't have a lot of responsibilities. But now I'm going on 36. And, you know, I got a lot of things going on now. Okay. All right. You know, just like, you know, you brothers as well. But I'll say this, you know, when I was, younger, right? You know, I felt like I was more on fire, so to speak. Okay. And that's because I had more time. And I'll say this, you know, the Lord puts things in your life, right? To teach you things, right? You get more wisdom from it, no doubt about it. So it's not necessarily bad having more responsibilities, okay? You get more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from it. But at times it is, you know, a distraction, okay? And that's where, you know, we who are in these positions, you know, have to take a deep breath, right? You know, meditate for a moment and, you know, prioritize, okay? You see, that's the main thing. You got to prioritize. And with that being said, you know, you got to put this truth first. Like I always, you know, say in a lot of my lessons, and also, you know, to the brothers, you know, while I'm teaching class, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you know, comes first. This truth comes first. Everything else is on the back burner, okay? It's really not important. All right? It's really not. Now, of course, you got to maintain in this society, right? You know, you got to go to work. You know, you got to handle your business as a man. Maybe you have children. Maybe you take care of your parents, right? Whatever the case may be. You got to, you know, handle, you know, the business. But, you know, you got to, you know, put the work in, okay? And that goes into, I'll say this, a lot of sacrificing too. You know, maybe you won't get a lot of sleep one night. Maybe you got to do that extra lesson or two, right? Or, you know, do a little more reading. Or instead of you getting, you know, that 8-7 hours of sleep that you're used to getting, maybe you might only be getting 6 or 5 hours, right? These things do, I'll say this, you have to do these things in your walk, okay? You see? Because look, the Lord called you, right? And let me get that real quick. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3, right? You got to remember that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai called you to be a soldier, okay? And look, we have an objective, right? We got a mission to complete right now, you know? So let me get this real quick. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3, and it reads here, Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. And you see, you can't be entangled with the affairs of this life. You can't be, distracted, by these things. Okay? You can't sit there and, kill yourself for this world, right? Look, I'll say this. You might be spending too much time with your family. That's one thing, right? You might be doing too much overtime at the job. Look, that business that you have, it might be, hindering you from producing more videos, right? All of these different things, you can't let those things become, the front burner, You can't have these things be more important than Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai in this truth. You see? But let me keep reading. It says, I'm going to read it again. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. It's like it's demon time right now. All of a sudden, no one knows how to drive. Forgot. What the fuck was that all about, man? Fucking retarded or something? Some of these people, man. Fucking idiots. But it says, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who had chosen him to be a soldier. And you got to remember, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai has chosen you to be that soldier, okay? To be that shepherd, Scriptures say that also in the book of John. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. You can't pick your lot, your role, all right? That's not up to you to decide. It's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Now I'll say this. Because, we don't know if we're part of the elect or not. And, that's why we're the hopeful elect, as we, say, and as the scriptures say. Right? That's the book of Zechariah. It talks about how we're what? Prisoners of hope. We don't know if we're going to be that selected individual, right? To be a part of the 144,000. But I'll say this. We do know that we've been called, right? And with that being said, since we've been called to this faith, we have an obligation, okay, to fulfill. We got particular things that we must accomplish. All right? Hey, first and foremost, we got to become that new man, right? That's what the Lord wants of us. Then, we got to, teach Israel, right? Prophesy to the nations, That's our job. That's what the Lord called us to do. Look, you're not going to win Father of the Year, all right? You're not going to, be Employee of the Month. You're not called to make, millions and billions of dollars. No. You're called to be a prophet, man. Okay? So what do prophets do? They prophesy. And that's what we must do in this truth. Prophesy. And that's what I like doing, man. Okay? I could really care less about, honestly, everything else in this world. I start feeling spiritually sick when I feel like I'm not on point. You know what I'm saying? When things are distracting me, things are holding me back. That's a good term. Holding me back. I don't like it. I start getting frustrated. Like I said, I start feeling spiritually sick. That's where all this other shit, right? All this other shit that I got to deal with. I just put it to the back burner. which it should always be in the back burner. But no, like you really make a point to make it in the back burner. Like, I don't give a fuck about this, that, and the third. Because there's times where I'm going to be blunt. I could be making money, and I'll say this, and I'm using this loosely. I should be making money. But I say, fuck it, man. I got to do lessons. I'm losing my goddamn mind here. I got to read. I got to be with the brothers, whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, this is not about fucking money, man. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the money, man. Lord, the Lord will bless you. Now, I don't know how the Lord's going to bless you, but the Lord will bless you. Trust me. Just, have faith that Yahweh B'Shem Shai is going to take care of you. That's what I do. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. But for whatever reason, the Lord has got me here. I'm still doing what I got to do. You know? All right? That's the problem, man. See, Jake, they're in their flesh. You know what I'm saying? They're in their flesh. They start getting nervous and worried. You just got to let it go. Let me get that in Hebrews, man, where it says something under the lines that you got to believe that he is, right? That's in Hebrews 11:6, I believe, because it talks about faith. Look, you can't be a goddamn woman in this thing, man. Because women have no faith. The 6th chapter? Maybe 6 and 11. Maybe I'm getting the numbers mixed up. Oh, God, here we go again, bro. There's a 10 and 6. Sorry, man. Okay, hold on. You know, I'm driving, trying to do everything at once. Hold on. Oh, there we go. That's how it's worded. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. How did I pass that? That was weird. Whatever. This is Hebrews 11:6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So you got to have faith, man. Okay? You just got to believe that the Lord is going to provide no matter what. Okay? And that the Lord is going to get you out of your situation. Okay? Because I'll say this. I've been in this truth for a little bit of time. I'll say it like that. And I've been put in, different situations, and, these situations can last for months, shit, even a year or two. And you just gotta, wait it out. Be patient, okay? Keep praying, keep enduring. And eventually the Lord's gonna get you out of your predicament, Eventually the Lord is gonna allow you to find that way to escape, Reminds me of that scripture in, I think it's 2 Corinthians. It talks about the temptations, right? And the Lord, he allows you to, escape, right? There's always that basically that, like I always say, that emergency exit route, The Lord, always has a way for us to be okay, man. For lack of words. See, the main point is that you just have to believe, and that's the problem, man. Jake, you got individuals out there that don't believe, and that's how they fall out. And I'll say this, if you start questioning things, because it happens, you have your moments of doubt. You have your moments where you feel like you're not a man of the Lord, whatever the case may be, right? And, you just got to rebuke that demon, okay? And, you just got to always remember that Yahweh B'Shem Shai always helped the righteous, right? What is that, Sirach 2:10? Look at the generations of old. You know, roughly paraphrasing it, whom have not the Lord, delivered. You just got to deal with things. And that's what I'll say this. As a man, you just got to, gird up your loins and fight through it. And sometimes these afflictions can get a little rough. I will say that they can get a little rough. But you just have to man up. You just got to man up and just keep going. No matter what. Because at the end of the day, I'll still say this, because this is what the scriptures say. It's really a light affliction, This is really a light affliction. It's not as hard as we make it, make it out to be. You just got to, because I say this a lot to the brothers too. Stop thinking about the negative. Think about all the positive things that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has done for you. Okay? And that's the problem of, people don't think about these things. I always say this, look, you got your daily bread, right? You got clothes. We brothers got places to live. And then we get, more too. Hey, brothers at times can have a drink. We deal with women. You know what I'm saying? So it's really not as bad as you think. All right? It's really not as bad as you think. Let me get this real quick, though. There's so many scriptures that are coming to my mind. But let me get this one. I don't know why this popped into my head, but let's bring it out. This is, what was this? Ezra 9 and 13. This is Ezra chapter 9, verse 13, and it reads here, "And after all that has come upon us for our evil deeds and for our great trespass, seeing that thou, our power Yahweh, has punished us less than our iniquities deserve, and has given us such deliverance as this." And you got to always remember that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has punished us less. Okay? Let me get this in the book of Psalms. I think it's 69. Because I mentioned those blessings, right? This is Psalm 68 and 19. "Blessed be the Lord, who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the power of our salvation." Salah. So you got to remember, the Lord is constantly giving you blessings, whether they be, minute ones or whether they be great ones. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is blessing you. Quit bitching, man. It's a fucking problem with Jake, man. You bitch too fucking much. Like, I get tired of that shit. That even goes for me too, man. Sometimes I got to check my own self and, do some self-examination and say, damn, man, I'm complaining too goddamn much. Now, of course, we're supposed to sigh and cry and all that, no doubt about it. But there's times where you bite the bullet, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking deal with it. And get to fucking work, man. Hey, because I'll say this, right? You think about working at these jobs. I don't know what brothers do for work, nor do I really give a shit, to be honest, right? To be blunt. But, hey, brothers may be, they may be, like a carpenter. Some brothers, they may, work at an office, right? They may be, work with corporate America. You got other brothers who may be, they may be coaches, for these athletes, whatever. I don't know, right? All I'm saying is this, man. That the customer, the boss, whoever it may be, right? They don't want to hear excuses. Okay? They don't want to hear excuses. They want results. And that's how Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is. The Lord wants results, man. Stop making excuses. Do what you got to do, man. Okay? And going back to what I said earlier, right? You were called into this thing. You were called to do this. Like I said, you weren't called to be father of the year, right? Husband of the year, employee of the month. The Lord doesn't care about your business. Okay? The Lord doesn't care about you being a family man, hanging out with your parents. You know what I'm saying? Hanging out with your cousins. Whatever the case may be, the Lord does not care about it. What the Lord cares about is, are you feeding the sheep, right? Then Yahweh Shai tell that to the apostle, what is it? Was it the apostle Peter? Okay, he said, if you love me, what? Feed my sheep. Feed my sheep, feed my sheep. That's what we're supposed to be doing. As my my brother, right? You know, Matatia, you know, the elder out there in Iowa, right? Des Moines, you know, the head of the camp. His page is titled what? GMS Feed the Flock. That's what we need to be doing, man. Feed the flock. All this other shit is unnecessary. Let our people know what's going on, man. Okay? Because look, according to Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. All right? You know? Strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Because when all hell breaks loose, none of this shit in this world is going to matter. You know what's going to matter? Your works and your faith. And the oil that you have. Right? It says in 2 Ezra 9:9, you're going to be saved by your you're going to be saved through your faith and your works. And faith and works are hand in hand. The book of James says what? I'm going to show you my faith by my works. Okay? Then I mentioned the oil. Because what does it say in Matthew the 25th chapter? It talks about the 5 wise and the 5 foolish virgins. Okay? Are you a wise virgin who got their oil? This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? You better. Because if you don't, you're going to be one of the foolish out there. Trying to get the oil from the wise. But the wise don't got time for you anymore. You see what I'm saying? Look, you need to know the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? You got to have works. You got to be a new man. Okay? You got to be, cleaned up, so to speak. All right? So on and so on. You got to have that charity. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to this thing. All right? There's a lot to this thing. Man, fuck this place, bro. I'm in that spirit, man. Fuck this place, okay? This place is going to be fucking destroyed. That's what's going to happen to Babylon the Great. It's going to be fucking annihilated. Esau's system is going to be fucking annihilated. The fuck are you fighting for this place for? Why are you attached to it? Are you out your goddamn mind, man? All right? Hey, remember your first love, as the scriptures talk about. And with that, I'm going to end this lesson. I got to get to class. And I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Also, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to